Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Last class we have completed the fault calculation. Today we shall start the economic operation. One minute. This is the last entry. I shall not give any more entry. Anyway, so this is the economic operation of power generating unit. What is that one? Economic operation means it is obviously involved with the cost, right? So now we shall consider about the monetary issues. I shall not give any more entry. So here in this power system, say there is an n number of generators. You know, in any power plant, actually is a number of generators. We generally the power plant does not have one generator of its capacity. Why? To increase its reliability. Say for a 50 megawatt power generating plant, there will not be one generator of rating 50 megawatt. Instead of that, there will be two or more generator. If there be two generator, it may be 25 megawatt each, it may be 20-30 megawatt in that way, depending on the load curve of that area. But it is not preferred to be one generator of the total plant capacity, so that this is the reason behind is that if there be any fault in the generator, then total load will be out of connection. Now if we have more than one generator, then if one generator is out of order, then another generator can serve the purpose. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Then uh, so for that reason there are n number of generators, more than one generators in power plant. It may be hydro, nuclear or thermal power plant or gas turbine power plant. When we discuss about economy, there the more concern is the thermal power plant or coal based power plant, because you know huge amount of coal is required for plant operation. Obviously for nuclear power plant also fuel is required, and that fuel is costly. But nuclear, the presence of nuclear power plant is very low as compared to the presence of thermal power plant in a power system. So when we talk about economic operation, generally we are concerned about the cost involved in thermal power generation, because the running cost in thermal power generation is always more, because it requires every time requires coal. For hydel power generation there is no such fuel cost, so running cost is more or less less as compared to the thermal power generator. Now economic operation of power generating units. Units means actually generators. Generators, actually DC, AC generators, we call it alternators. Generally synchronous generator at this time we do not use in power system. Generally we use alternator. Similarly, in case of economic operation, alternator is not so used. It is termed as unit, because here we are concerned about the power plant, and power plant is consisting of a number of generators. So instead of generators, it is called unit in case of economic operation, in the topic of economic operation. So the unit in economic operation is same as synchronous generator or alternator. Now, economic operation has two aspects, and one is economic load dispatch, another is unit commitment. Say in a say power plant, say there are m number of generators m. So generators are say P1, P2, 1 minute. So P1, then P2, in this way up to PM. Now, your load is such that your load demand of that plant is such that total capacity of plant is not required. Okay, or sometime in the power plant there is another generator. Say if you have 50 megawatt generation, there is some running reserve. So there are 5 megawatt. There is a generator with 5 megawatt capacity that is spare. So if any generator is out of order, then you can use that 5 megawatt generator, or you can add 50 megawatt plus 5 megawatt in that plant. So that generator that is actually in rest, you can connect it, then switch on, then all the connection process, all the warming up process of our thermal power plant have to be done before coming keep that 5 megawatt generator into operation. So this type of storage or reserve is called spinning reserve. Spin means rotating, SPIN, spinning reserve. Now, since that the generator I was talking about, that was in rest, and you will come when required. It is required to come into action after a long process. You know, the starting up of a generator and thermal power plant is not very short process. It is a very time consuming. In number of hours we require. So this type of storage, this type of reserve, actually it was reserved. 5 megawatt generation was reserved for in case of any emergency. This type of reserves are called cold reserve. Cold means that is in your hand, but you cannot use it readily. You have to make it ready before use. So that is cold reserve. Now, it may happen that 5 megawatt generation was at run, but at no load or at very low load, so that you can make full load at any time. Then it will be called hot reserve. That means you are not using, but at any time you can use it by just changing its input stream. So this is the concept of cold reserve and hot reserve. Anyway, so now if there be m number of generators, if the load is in thermal power plant is generally constant, otherwise, and load is generally less than its total capacity. Anyway, so if there is m number of generators, so you are catering P load amount of load, it may happen P load is less than P1 plus P2 up to summation of m. Then say you are selecting n number of generators from there. N number of generators from m number of generators, and obviously m is greater than n. So actually here P1, P2, in this way up to n number of generators will be selected to cater this load, P load. It does not means if you have a 10 generators, if you number them 1, 2, 3 up to 10, then you are if it is required 8 generators, you will select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 right row number. It is not the case. The thing is that always we shall think about economy. So actually, whether this number one first generator will be selected or not, that will be dependent on whether it is economic to cater this load under this situation or not. So there are two steps of economic operation or monetary benefit consideration. One is when you have a number of generators more than your requirement, then which generator will you select to operate? That means you are selecting a number of generators from the generators that in your hand. Now, if this problem is valid, only you have more number of generators than the requirement. Otherwise, it is this discussion is totally actually totally not required. So this thing, whatever I am discussing, that if we have a number of generators m and our requirement is n number of generators which is less than m, then It is our in our hand which n generators we shall select. So we must select according to economy, because all the generators, the fuel consumption in all generator set are not same, because the turbine, boiler, furnace all cannot be identical. So they have their own characteristics, so they are depend on them. Their response to economic operations are different. The nature is same, but the response maybe will be different from one generator to another. Then obviously the generator which is providing power with lower cost, that we should prefer. So there is one question: selection of our required number of generators from the available generators. So we are selecting unit from a number of generators. So that problem is called unit commitment. So actually here we are selecting n number of generators, but which n? That problem will be tackled in the unit commitment issues. Commitment means that unit are committed to supply the power in that way. Next is economic generation. Now, by unit commitment, by some economic criteria, by some mathematical equations, you have selected n number of generators. So you have selected, say, n number of generators. I am repeating that it does not mean after P1, P2 will come, or P1 will obviously come. At first, P5 may come. Say, first 4 generators are not economic. So it is only an example, P1, P2 up to Pn. Actually, the thing is that we shall select most economic generators to cater the load. Now, obviously, this topic is under unit commitment issues. Next is, then this load, P load, will be distributed among these Pn number of generators. So the load catered by each generators will not obviously be P load by n, because it will again distributed considering economic criteria. So that when we are distributing a particular amount of load among a particular amount of generator, that is called economic load dispatch. So economic load dispatch is distribution of load among the generator. Would you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
So generally, for your case, the unit commitment or general economic load economic unit commitment is not in your syllabus. The economic generation also in a very simple form is in your syllabus. But at least you should know what are the difference between unit commitment and the ELD, economic load dispatch. Economic load dispatch is also called economic load distribution. Economic load dispatch is also called economic load scheduling. Okay. In short, in higher study, we call it economic load dispatch, or ELD in short, ELD. And unit commitment is called UC, U and C. So I have written here in short, that will be sufficient for you if you can understand, you have understood. Economic load dispatch or schedule, economic distribution of load among the energy generating units. So it will be always will be among the units within a plant, not plant to plant. Then unit commitment, economic selection of energy generating, this is a selection, in economic selection of energy generating units to cater an entire load. Okay, here in your discussion, these things are, this economic loss dispatch is restricted within one plant. But if it is extended from plant to plant, then obviously one plant is connected to other plant through transmission line. Then transmission line. So in that case, transmission line losses will come into action. Okay. Here we are not considering those things. Now, when we are thinking about economic operation, then we must be uh, clear about the what are the costs of power generation, right? So there are two type of cost. One is installation cost, another is running cost. For any power plant there will be an installation cost. You know, for thermal power plant there are so many equipment, say boilers, superheater, reheater, economizer, condenser, furnace, turbine, generator, so many things are there. The coal handling plant, it is a huge plant, so installation cost is huge. And installation cost is one time cost, so that the economy in that case will be considered whether we will will you install the plant or not. During running cost, when you are operating it, then only economic lies in installation cost, in the way that we should think about what is the interest or depreciation we have to pay for the installation cost, because that cost we have to pay every time when you are for the total time when you are operating the plant. And running cost means the cost required to run the plant. So running cost actually have two part, fixed cost and variable cost. What is the fixed cost? The interest or depreciation on the installation cost, because that will run throughout the life of the plant, plus the staff, the salary of staffs, labor charges, wages, if there be any tax, all the things will come within the fixed cost. Fixed cost means these costs are not dependent on the power generation, whether you generate the power or not. If you run the plant, if you make it active, you have to pay this. So this is the fixed cost. And variable cost, if you run the plant, if you are generating, then you need the fuel. So fuel cost is actually the variable cost, mainly fuel cost. Now when you are generating, that means you are transmitting. When you are transmitting power, then there will be a line loss. Then that line loss will be the running cost of the plant, if there be any line loss, because consumer will never pay for the cost, for that loss. They will always pay only the power that they have consumed. Now that is the requirement of the power utility or the power plant, power generating companies, that to supply the power at the doorstep of the consumer. So that the whole the liability of line loss lies to the power generating companies or power plants. So that cost will come in the variable cost also. And daily road requirement and purchase of or sale of a power. Variable cost actually depends on the fuel, that is the function of, that depends on loading, because loading actually depend on generation, depend on loading. Plus there is one term, purchase or sale of power. If you have the commitment that you will generate that an amount of power, you have to generate that. If you cannot generate, plant cannot generate that one, then it has to give the compensation, that you have to give the penalty for that. That is called ABT, availability based tariff is there for that. So that will come also in the terms of variable cost. For your case, no such complication will come into action. Only the thing is that, in simple way, if there be generation, then there will be a fuel. If with increase in generation, more fuel will be required, so more fuel cost. So the running costs are actually fuel cost. Now, economic load among the thermal generators of a thermal power plant depend on mainly fuel cost and other fixed costs like interest, depreciation, where what I have already discussed. Then, if we draw the input output curve of a thermal generating station, then it will be like this. If input, why I have drawn in input in y axis, output in x axis, it should be opposite, because output is dependent on input. But in case of power system, we are interested in power generation. So our main criteria is to generate a particular power. So for that, to generate that particular power, how much input is required? So when we are talking about economic operation, we are interested in power generation. Then power generation will always be in x-axis. That's why here it is in x-axis. But if you see from the turbine point of view or alternator point of view, then obviously the output is dependent on input. So the axis should be reversed. But here we are discussing from the power system point of view. Then in power system for particular generation, how much input is required. In this way we are treating. Could you follow me?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
without giving the input, how we can get the output?
Yes.
Without giving the input, how we can get the output? Means input
No,
should
no,
be
no.
independent.
Not giving the input. I am not getting the output. Without I for say here, this data is known. When the plot is drawn, then obviously it is drawn for a given output. Then for a given input, an output is plotted. Understood? But so this graph is drawn in the original way. So you are giving an input in steam input in kilocalorie hour or British thermal unit in hour to the turbine. Then how much generation you are getting? But when you are analyzing from economic operation point of view, then we want to get some generation. So then for that particular generation, how much input is required? Because we are interested to find out coal input, the cost of coal input. That's why the input is in y-axis. We want to find out for a particular generation how much fuel cost is there, how much fuel is required. Then at first we have to know. Now could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So actually the thing is reverse. That's why I have indicated that one. Actually the thing is reverse. It can never be the original graph. But in this way, we analyze when we want to analyze the economic operation, when we want to decide economic criteria of a power plant. Okay. Because for economic criteria, your load is constant. You have to generate accordingly. Then for that generated generation, how much fuel is required? So that is the thing. Now, obviously, in the y-axis, if we multiply this by cost of fuel, obviously, this is the actual in terms of steam. So, the cost of conversion of fuel to steam, if we multiply with that, then we can write fuel cost in y-axis. So, actually, what I wanted to show that this fuel cost curve, this is called the fuel cost curve. So, fuel cost curve is dependent. Fuel cost of a power plant is dependent on its output also. Now there is a minimum and maximum range of output also, that you cannot generate beyond the minimum value of a power generator in practical power generator, because in generator you need a minimum prime mover input to generate a minimum value. So in that way, for every generators there is a maximum load generation possible, there is a minimum generation possible. If we write minimum generation is 0, that we are writing theoretically, but practically minimum generation has a value. Now cost function of a power plant. Now cost function, why it has come to cost function? Actually, when economic operation means we want to minimize the cost. So it is a minimization problem. Minimization problem is also called optimization problem. So actually we want to minimize the cost. So we must apply differential calculus. So for that purpose, we need a mathematical formulation of this problem. So we need a function which will indicate cost of operation of the plant, and that function will be dependent on the output power only, or we must say what to say, substitute the things in such a way that so that we should get a function of cost with respect to the output power. Because actually we want to know for a particular power generation how much cost will be there. From there we shall decide we have to operate or the plant or not, in that way. Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So for that reason we need the cost function. So cost function of, say we want to write the cost function CI, C for cost, of ith generating unit. There are n number of generators. From there, let us write down the cost function for ith generating unit. Okay, so for ith generating unit, at that time, say power output is Pi. This power is obviously PG, generation, because all are alternator. So, but here not written G repetitively. Pi means power generation of the ith unit of the plant, right? So there, actually, this cost function may be divided into three subparts. At first, let us write CI1, CI2, CI3. These are three subparts. Then, for in the fuel cost, in the running cost, we have seen some cost is constant, that is not dependent on generation. That means that is not the function of generation, that is constant, that is salary, wages, interest, depreciation, all the thing. So that for CI1 is the fixed part of the running cost. Running cost has different part, so there the fixed part of that is the CI1. So CI1, actually we can write gamma I. So for the ith generator, fixed cost during operation of that unit is gamma I. So if we want to make that ith unit in operation, then gamma I cost will be there whether it generates or not. Next is the fuel cost. So fuel cost obviously proportional to output generation. So proportional, so beta is the proportionality constant. So we can write the fuel cost part of the cost function is beta I into pi. Say, why say? Because we are assuming this constant is beta I. Why here we are assuming this fixed part of the cost is the running cost is the gamma I. So say, that means let us assume. Similarly, if we assume the loss, this is not the transmission line loss, this is the loss within the loss due to generation or in this within the plant, then it is proportional to I square. Why? Because in fuel cost curve, if there be any loss, say loss is I square R. Now I is S by V conjugate, square of that into R. Now here we are interested in the active power. So if we approximate it, it is dependent on, we are not generating any reactive power, only reactive power, then it is simply P by V, cos phi will come here, P by V, okay. Then if P by V, then cos phi will come if there be reactive power anyway. So P by V whole square by into R. So in short, I square R loss is also proportional to P square or the generation P generation square approximately, obviously approximately proportional to. Here we have done so many things in approximate, right? Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So in that way, so this cost will be catered by the plant. So will come in the running cost, because if PG is more, then current will be more. So this is one cost that will come in the cost function. That will come in the cost function. So it will be proportional to power output. So alpha I square pi square. Now one more thing. This is the loss due to within the generator. Now there is another thing I should mention. Say there are all the generators are here. Say one generator, let us draw. Not true. They are connected through transmission line. Okay. In that case, transmission line loss will be there, which will be function of generation of both the generator, is not it? Obviously, that current will be dependent on this current flowing through this. Obviously, it will be dependent on P1 and P2 both. P2 both. Could you follow me? But this is not that case. This is the loss within the plant due to this generator. That means this loss if there be a number of generators within it for that. But this is the transmission line loss. This loss we are not considering here. We are considering this as zero, and actually we are neglecting this. This cost is, this loss is the different thing. Understood?
Ma'am, please repeat.
Say here, you have a generator, right? It is connected to bus. Then whatever be the loss incurred due to this transmission, there is a current. So that loss will be proportional to P square. I think all of you agree with me for that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, so this thing we may formulate in this way. Understood? This thing we may formulate, because from after generator there is transformer, then there is load. If it is connected directly, then also. So from generator to load there will be a loss, right? Because in this path there will be a transformer also, and synchronous generator also has some resistance within it. Now say this is located in some area, say in Jadavpur. This is located somewhere in Bandel. So this generator is also supplying generation. Then these the two generators are not in same locality. They are connected through long transmission line. And in that case, this current, say if it is I1, it is no simple, like not simple as like P square. It's not simple as that loss will not be as simple as the P square. This current will be obviously dependent on voltage here as well as voltage here, and also power here and as well as power here. So in from that, for that reason, here the what will be the current, that will be function of both the power. So if the current is the function of both powers, then power loss will also be the function of both powers generations. So this is actually the loss, transmission line loss. Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are not considering that loss, right? We are not considering that loss. But in generation cost modeling, this loss we should consider. That's why when you will see actual value, you will see the value of alpha is very low. And it is obviously this loss for a particular generator is not dependent on the loss on the other generators. It is only the function of the generator itself, because this is up to the bus. But this loss, the loss in this transmission line is dependent on generation of this alternator, also the generation of this alternator. Because what will be the direction of current, how the power will flow, that will depend on the power difference. But I have shown current is flowing in this direction, but current may flow in this direction also if the P2 is more than P1. Okay, so that is the different issue, and I only wanted to make you understand the difference in between these two concepts. Okay, here we are not considering this portion. We are considering all the alternators are at same plant, or if they are in different plants, but we are not considering this transmission line. We are considering the system is lossless. So actually, in that case, cost due to line loss will be alpha pi square. So the cost function will be this one, summation of these three. This is the simplified cost function. This is not the actual one. If you draw this one, if you see this one, this is not a quadratic equation. It is not a parabola. From here, it should be a parabola. Alpha x square plus beta x plus gamma, so it should be a parabola, but it will not be a parabola, it is something else. So actually it is an nth order polynomial. We have approximated it as a quadratic polynomial, right? So here this is very much simple, very much primitive cost function. Actually there are so many terms with it, but this will give you an idea what is cost function actually is, what the cost function actually is. So in that way, but in actual case cost function is the nth order polynomial. So because n may be infinity, I do not know. We do not know how what will be the characteristics of an alternator. Because in that case, this equation is a practical one. This is not the mathematical one. From there, using curve fitting, you have to calculate the equation. And if you have learned curve fitting, you know the n can be infinity. You can take any order of approximation. But in any case, curve fitting also, if you take any order, that will be an approximated value. It will never give the value that you will get from the actual graph. Okay, so actually we can never reach the actual cost function of a thermal generating unit, because this is the practical one. By mathematical modeling we can get very near to that, not more than that, not exact to that. So this is one say approach to get a cost function of a thermal generating unit. So if we write in a say in a simple form, it will have three part. First, that is a fixed part due to salary wages. Next is a part which is proportional to fuel cost, that is the main running cost of a power plant. If you see the values, actually the beta pi portion is the maximum of the ci, and then there is a cost there will be a cost due to the loss. If the generation is more, then the loss will be more. So that should be incurred in the thing. Now, one more thing is there that is important in economic operation, that is incremental fuel cost. What is that? If we take first derivative of cost curve, I have written here F, actually it will be C. Because otherwise I have written C everywhere. So this is the incremental fuel cost, that is first derivative of cost function with respect to its generation. Why I have written this one? Why it is important? You see, so incremental fuel cost actually the slope of the curve. So any change on the curve we can calculate from here. So here, if this is the thing, then incremental fuel cost is the slope of the curve anywhere. So if I want to take find out what is the change in cost due to change in these two generation from P1 to P2, then obviously this will be this much. Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So actually, if we multiply incremental fuel cost by the change in power, let me write again. So actually, this is del C. So del C we can write del C equal to actually incremental fuel cost or slope of the curve into del P. So actually, we have seen that to get the actual fuel cost function is very tough, but incremental fuel cost is very easy because we have known it that constant part. So if we know the incremental fuel cost, that is also sufficient. Then we can calculate any change in cost due to any change in power. That actually we require. If we increase the power generation from P1 to P2, whether cost will be more or less. Here you are seeing that every time it is more, but actually cost function is not like that. A cost function is a variable thing, like this. So when we go from here to here, cost may decrease also. It I have not shown here because it is actually nth order polynomial. Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So I shall show you one example on that. So this is that's why incremental fuel cost is important. Now another thing is, what is the constraint to be considered in economic operation? What is the meaning of constraint? Meaning of constraint is the limitation. The thing we cannot do, that is the constant, our foundation. So similarly, there are some limitation that we have to consider when we want to find out economic criteria. Economical, we want to operate the thing economically. At first, equality constant. That means things should be balanced. There are so many constraints as per your syllabus. Only two constraints I have discussed. One is equality constant. What is the first equality constant? Generation should be equal to load plus loss. So if there be n number of generators, then summation of all generation must be equal to load plus loss. If we neglect loss, then obviously generation should be equal to load. So in our case, now we shall consider this one because we are not considering transmission line loss. This loss means not plant loss. This loss means transmission line loss. Understood? I hope you have understood. Then next is inequality constant. Inequality that we have to consider when we want to make economic operation. Then the first limit is the inequality constant is every generation should be within its limit. It has a minimum limit, maximum limit. So whatever you are calculating by mathematics, that calculation will be applicable if that is feasible. Say by a calculation, you are seeing that minus 20 megawatt generation is required. So mathematics can give you any value, any numerical value, but minus 20 megawatt generation is not possible. So that means that is invalid. So in that way, say for a particular generator, say P, say for a particular generator, its minimum limit say 10 megawatt, maximum limit is 100 megawatt. Then obviously all the generation between 10 to 100 megawatt is feasible for that particular generator, say PG, generator PG. Then if you get any generation by economic operation, it is suggesting that its generation requirement is 110 megawatt. Can this generator produce this? Never. So it can produce maximum 100. So economy showing what is economy into economic operation, or that mathematical calculation indicating that it will be best if the generation be 110 megawatt. That means it is on the best thing you can make PG equal to 100, because you can never make PG equal to 110. Then obviously in that case economic operation will not be maintained. But from economic operation, you are seeing that the generator should be operated more than its rated value on the higher side. Then we should fix the generation on the higher side. Then remaining 10 megawatt could not be catered in this way. So the economic generation, the minimum cost generation is not possible. But at least the the cost will be lower. Understood my point?
Ma'am, can you please explain this inequality constraint?
Inequality constant is for every generation, there is a prime mover limit, prime mover input limit. You cannot make steam input 0 to make a generator output to 0. So it can practically, it will minimum generation can never be 0 until you disconnect it from the system. That is the different issue. In that case, that will not be in the system. Economic operation is invalid for that generator.
Ma'am,
Next,
why so?
hmm?
Why it can be 0?
It cannot be 0. If you say if you are giving steam input to 0, right, then it will not be in operation. Generator will not rotate. Is not it?
Okay,
Generator
understood.
will not rotate, so it will not. Actually, it will be disconnected from the system. We shall not make everything in operation. We shall not maintain fuel input, all the thing, if we make steam input 0, because in then there will be danger for the power plant. That is not feasible. So 0 power generation is not possible. What happened during low load condition? We can run the generator at the minimum generation. At the heavy loading condition, we can run the generator at its maximum capacity. That is the maximum generation. So maximum generation is limit is the rating of that generator. Minimum generation limit is the generation of that particular alternator, so that it can be in the operation. Because if you withdraw it from the system, you cannot bring it into the system at a moment. Okay, you have learned starting up and shutdown of the alternators in power plant. So in that way, theoretically in book you will get that assume minimum generation as 0, or if it is not mentioned in book, it is assumed as 0. But practically it will never be 0. In practical power plant, always it will be some value, 10 megawatt, 5 megawatt, 25 megawatt, some value will be there. It should be in operation anyway. So it will have a minimum value, a maximum value. Now, economic criteria, I have not derived the mathematical model still now. Only we have seen there is a cost function. So, if we want to get the minimum cost of operation, minimum operation with minimum cost, then this cost function must be minimized. So, from there we can get a function, the condition of P. What will be the value of P for economic operation? Because this function should be minimized. This cost function should be minimized if we want to make the operation economic. So from there, by using the differential calculate, we may get some value of P. How we shall get that, I shall discuss in next class. But we may get, because if we know the equations, we can get the maximum value, minimum value of that function by differential calculus. So if that value by calculation, that calculation is suggesting that this P should be 110 megawatt. In that case, your generation will be economic. That cost function value will be the minimum value. So cost function is minimum in the economic. But practically the generation range of that particular generator is 10 to 100 megawatt. Then that generator can never be able to generate this 110 megawatt. Then by economy, it may suggest that the operating cost will be 10 rupees per hour. Dollar I am telling by example, not the practical value. But to get the operation cost 10 rupees per hour, this should be the generation. But you cannot go to this. There you have restriction, because the generator cannot generate that one. Then how we can compromise? This generator has maximum value test. Then it can generate this one. Then it may happen, in that case, cost of generation will be 15 rupees per hour instead of 10 if you adopt this one. But instead of that, if you do as your own wish, if you make it 90, 70, everything, if you decrease it, you will see if you decrease it, this cost of operation will increase. You will see it. So in that way, whatever be the economic operation is suggesting, ideally we should stick to that. If due to technical difficulty it is not possible, then we must go near to that operation. So if the generation limit is crossed, then we must go to the maximum to that generation limit. So here generation limit is crossed on the upper side. So we shall fix it to 100. If it suggests that generation should be 5, then also it would not be possible, because its minimum generation is 10. In that case, we shall fix it to 10. In that case also, cost will be further to some extent more than 10, because it is indicating that if you make it 5, then your cost will be minimum. If you are making more than 5, then cost will be somewhat more. Right? Understood? I shall show an example next time. So in short actually, say if by economic operation, if Pi is more than, I shall discuss it again also, Pi is more than Pi max, then we cannot do that one. In that case, we shall fix Pi to Pi max. If Pi is less than Pi mean, then we cannot do that one. Generation cannot be less than that. Then we can fix this pi to pi mean. At maximum we can do that one. We cannot go beyond that. So in that way we can handle the constraint. Then obviously the economic operation will not be possible. By numerical example, I shall show it in further classes, right? Okay, that's all for today. Now, could you follow what is the inequality constraint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next class I shall give you an example, then it will be more clear. Okay, that's all for today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please leave the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.